Sitting behind me here today is a 2025 Porsche Taycan GTS Sport Turismo. Now that's a really long title, but this is a really cool car, so I think it deserves that title. But today we're gonna be talking about what makes this car cool, special, and what makes it a little bit different than the Taycan Cross Turismo. So let's just jump right into it, and we'll start up front right here. So starting off with the front end of this car, you'll notice for the 2025 model year, this car does get a facelift. It's got the headlights that are a little bit more built into the actual design of the car, as well as these vents are a little bit more sleek looking. I think it just looks more complete compared to the previous generations. Now don't get me wrong, I really do like the previous generations. They did a great job with those ones, but this one just looks, to me, in my opinion, a little bit better. Now, since this is an electric car, you don't have an engine up here. You got extra storage space, in fact. So if you were to open up the front or the hood, you just got more storage space to complement the storage space you've got in the rear. So this car is more than capable for any of your daily necessities, going to the grocery stores, picking up the kids, any of that fun stuff. But talking about the engine, this is an electric car, but don't worry, it's still got plenty of horsepower. This thing boasts 596 horsepower and 582 pound-feet of torque, which honestly is insane for a sedan, honestly. This is way more power than anybody justifiably needs, but it's a Porsche. Everybody wants that power. And that's what I love about this car. It's top performance, it's fast, it's fun, it's cool looking, and I think Porsche's done a great job with it. Getting to drive this car, it's super fun to just take on the streets. You don't get the exhaust noise, but you still get that Sport Turismo, like, extra sound to get in the car. I don't know, it's different, I really like it. But let's move on to the side of the car. So looking here at the side of the car, you'll notice it's got a little bit different look than your standard Taycan. Now this is a Sport Turismo, so you've got that wagon look back here. And I really like the wagons. I'm a big fan of wagons in general. So I like the Sport Turismo, and I like the Cross Turismo a lot. But up here, you'll notice you've got your charging port right here. You've got charging ports on both sides. One side's for fast charger, one's your standard charger, but both sides can do the standard charger. So you don't have to worry about charging your car which way you park it. It's not a big deal. Continue moving on to the side, you'll notice that everything, doors, handles, all the same. I like the handles are really built into the side of the car. You press the unlock button, they pop out. It's really sleek. It adds for that aerodynamic effect. The next thing I want to talk about, the biggest difference between the Sport Turismo and the Cross Turismo is that with the Cross Turismo, you get the black wheel arches right here. It gives it a beefier, more off-roady look. The Cross Turismo does sit a little bit higher than the Sport Turismo, and the Sport Turismo is only for the GTS model of the Taycan hatchback, I guess. So the Sport Turismo, you'll only get when you get a GTS. I really do think Porsche did a great job with the overall design of this car. It looks great. If I compare it to some of the other cars, I'm definitely taking this over that. But we'll move on to the back now. Here in the back of the car, like I said again, this is a wagon, so you got a little bit taller back here. You got a bigger trunk space, which is really nice. But I really do like the back of this car. It looks pretty much the same as the previous generation. You got the light bar that goes all the way across. You got your badging right back here. And to open up the trunk, there's a button right beneath the badge, and that'll open up your trunk. Automatic, it's great, and you've got your charger back here for when you do get your new car. This is the one that will go in your garage however you want to charge your car when you're at home. But other than that, the back looks pretty much the same, and we'll move on to the interior. So sitting inside the Taycan GTS Sport Turismo, it's honestly a really comfortable place to be. The seats are super comfortable. They hug you when you're taking turns, and honestly, they feel like kind of like bucket seats, honestly. I really like it. It's not as uncomfortable as bucket seats, so these ones are really great. A couple things inside this car that look honestly just phenomenal is I love how the door handles, and a lot of the trim in here is paint matched to the exterior color. And I didn't talk about the exterior color very much on this car. This car is finished in oak green metallic, which is just a beautiful color for this car, especially when you pair it with the truffle brown interior on this car. I think it's just a great spec. This is honestly one of the most beautiful Taycans I've seen, in my opinion. Now, you do got carbon fiber as well on the door and throughout some of the other portions of the car. The steering wheel on this car is honestly super comfortable. It's got great grip. You've got all your buttons on here. And one thing I really like about the Taycan, especially the GTS model, is you do have this dial on the steering wheel, which allows you to change between your different drive modes. And there's also a button in the middle, which is kind of like an overtake button. If you watch any racing series, push to pass, kind of stuff like that, it gives you a boost in horsepower, which will jump you up to around, I think, the 690 range, where, you know, honestly, you just get that extra horsepower. And honestly, it's just a fun aspect to have. Like, if you're taking this to the track, obviously you're going to use that plenty of times. Now, you got a fully digital gauge cluster. It looks great. It tells you all your information, gives you your battery percentage, and honestly, just everything you'd basically find in any other Porsche. Porsche did make an improvement to the range on the Taycan, so I think you're upwards around like 330 on average for this car, which honestly is really good for a car. That's basically what you're getting in a gas-powered car anyways. So there's really no complaints about the ranges on these cars compared to the Macan and stuff like that. Moving on to over here, you got a beautiful infotainment system. It's pretty easy to use. You got Apple CarPlay, you got all the Porsche necessities you got there. You got your climate control right here beneath your infotainment system. It's all touchscreen, so it's really intuitive as well. And you just got a bunch of little accent lights around the car. You can probably change these as well. They are set to the green, which complements the exterior as well. And last thing I want to touch on is you do have the Sport Chrono clock right here. It's a staple in a lot of Porsches. Most Porsches, honestly, you'll find them. If they don't have them, honestly, it's kind of an oddity. But that clock is great. It's got that. That's what will add the dial to your steering wheel, which I really like. But that is actually a stopwatch. So if you're taking it to the track, you can track your lap time. So it's a cool feature about this car. Overall, I think Porsche did a great job with the 2025 Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo, the GTS Sport Turismo. It's a great looking car, it drives great, and honestly, it's one of my favorite electric cars out there, and even one of my favorite Porsches overall. But if you guys want to check them out, come stop by the dealership. We've got plenty of Taycans.